What's up everyone, welcome back to another tutorial on the channel. My name is Nux. It's that time of year again. It's October, that means it's Halloween and we all love it. There's always some great stuff going on around this time of year in the whole Fallout scene. I love checking out all the Halloween camp builds. DTD is currently running the monthly camp building competition over on his channel, and that's all Halloween themed. So there's a lot going on. It's really cool, and it got me to thinking. A couple of weeks ago, I did a build which was called the Blood Eagle Prison, and it was just pretty much a little prison in the ash heap just outside of Lewisburg, run by a bunch of Blood Eagles. And what I did in that build is I used these hanging cages that you can see here, and a lot of people really liked them. I got a lot of positive comments about them. I had a lot of people messaging me and asking me for some tips and tricks on how to do them. And then recently I started thinking, hey, these would be perfect for Halloween. You know, if you want to create some creepy looking camps with some hanging cages, especially if you pick an immersive location somewhere and really blend them in, it could be really cool. So I decided I'm going to show you guys how to do this. All right everyone, so as you can see behind me there is the hanging cage that we're going to be building today. So what I did is I just quickly threw up this scrappy little prison looking tower structure thing next to it, just to have something to hang it off. You can hang it off something higher than this, a lower structure. You can try hang it off a prefab. You can try hang it off a world item. If you mess around enough, I'm sure you could probably hang this thing off almost anything if you're willing to mess around enough and get it to work. So yeah, it looks really good with Raider builds. It looks really good with Blood Eagle builds, any sort of prison vibe that you're trying to do. And I think with some spooky Halloween builds, it could be really cool. I mean, I don't know what you guys are into. You could try put a clown and you could have some prisoner clown. I don't know. Like I'm not here to judge. You guys must do whatever you want. All I want is just to go around to Minerva's little shop there one week and actually just see the nuclear winter plant, so that I can just have the little wasteland love seat in my camp, because I really want that thing. And week after week, it just sits there in the build menu with a little red crop. But, you know, anyway, that's neither here nor there. So yeah, let's get into it. All right, guys. So to start off, as I was saying, I built this little structure here just to hang it off. Obviously, you can build your own thing however you want, as I was saying, and then you want to just create like a little platform here, maybe like 2x2, or I've just done this one 2x3, and then you just want to take some normal stairs snapped into the side here. This is just a scaffolding to pretty much build the tools we're going to use to make the cage, and we're just going to put a floor there, another one next to it. We're just going to go up here, put these stairs just leading out where you've just got some space below you to actually lower this thing once we start making it. We're going to put one more floor on this over here, and yeah, that should be fine. So it's just going to look something like that. Very basic, very easy, no problem. Now we're going to start making the cage itself. So we're going to go over to power conduits, and we want to select the straight bar conduit, and we want to use the medium one. There's a short, medium, and long one. You want to use this medium one. So we're just going to put it down like this, and we're just going to start with this, and then we're going to go over and start with the mat we're going to use. Now I like to use this round mat just because it kind of looks like wood, but there are some other mats you could use. If you don't have it, you could use a square mat. There is a way to do it with the square mats. You know, you could use this little flower one and then use this little this mat that looks like wood, not this one but the other little variant, and pretty much create like a square around it, which I'll show you later. You could do that if you don't have that mat that I'm using, but unfortunately to make the cage itself you're going to need this defense cage thing over here, rusted chain link fence. This is atomic shop item, so is the little mats. Unfortunately I can't think of another way to do it without those. If you come up with another way, then all the more to you, but for me you have to use these items. So anyway, we're going to go back, we're going to take this mat, and we just want to place it right on the end of this conduit. Now this is a little bit tricky. If you just place it, you'll see it doesn't really place. So what you want to do is select it and then just turn it right on the edge there, and you'll see it kind of pops up at some stage. You'll see it's gray, and then boom, it becomes solid like that, and then you're good. So now it's going to be attached to the conduit. Then we're going to go back up here. Well, before that we just got to set up our little drop-in tools here. So we're going to do this with, I'm just going to put a rug here just to get a little bit further out so there's definitely no intersection issues. Then we're going to go over to power connectors. We're going to use the trusty pressure plates to drop this thing down. I'm just going to place it on the edge here. We actually want to, I'm going to use a mannequin here just so that I don't have to stand on it myself, and that I can judge the distance of how far I want to lower it. And then we just want to pretty much take this conduit, and we're going to go back up to the pressure plates. And we're just going to put it on the pressure plate like so. There we go. Now we've got the mat hanging over the edge. Let's just move this closer so it's even further out so we can select the conduit easier. And yeah, then we are pretty much ready to go and start dropping this thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to use these bone charms to actually hang the cage. I like to use this instead of the conduits. It just looks more immersive, especially with the Raider spooky theme. So you want to select the one you're going to use. I'm using this longest one over here just because I'm hanging this from a 2.5 story structure. And we're going to take the one you want and you're going to hang it from the bottom of the pressure plate itself. This is all to gauge the distance. So once you've got that done, you've got your bone charm under there. And now we just need to lower this mat until it is in line. And so we're going to go select the conduit and we're going to spend the next 36 years of our lives drop merging this thing. So what we want to do is we want to drop merge this thing all the way down so that the top of the chain link fence, when you place it on, is sort of just in line or just above the end of the bone charm, if that makes sense. So you'll see right here. So I keep testing it, and then over here I go, and now I've got it right. So you see the bottom of the bone charm comes just past where that fence is going to end up at the top there. So that it's going to look like the fence, that's going to look like the bone charm is going through the little roof we make and holding up the Raider cage. So now we're good. We know that the distance is correct. So now we can go over, we can grab this power conduit, and now we can head over here, and this is the best way to do this. So you want to go over to an upper floor and place it there, not too close to the edge because that's not going to work. And now we're going to place spike boards on this thing to create the arm that holds up the cage itself. So we're going to go over to the spike boards and just make sure you have a little bit of the conduit hanging over the edge like that so that you can select it from the bottom, because once the board's on you can't select it. And just take this board and put it like pretty much halfway up the conduit. This can be finicky, you might have to readjust a few times. It luckily worked here for me first time, and you want to pretty much do that so that makes the arm the base parts of the arm that's going to hold up the cage. Now if you go underneath, you can select the conduit like that. There's obviously no other way to select it, that's why I hang it over the edge. And once you're done with that, you want to go to the roof where you're going to hang this bad boy from, and now you're going to go over to power connectors, back to the conduit pipes, and you're going to choose the smallest one, depending on how far you want to hang it. So if you want to hang this thing way further out, you could use longer ones. It's up to you. You could attach smaller ones, it doesn't really matter. And we're just going to place it there just at a little bit of an angle so that it's not hanging straight off the edge. Then we're going to go back to our original conduit that's still hanging off here. We're going to grab it. We're just going to go back to the small conduit that we built now on the roof, and that's just going to snap nicely onto that conduit. And then there we go. There's the base of your cage hanging at the bottom there, and now you're pretty much ready to go with building up the cage itself. So you can reposition that any way you want. It's totally up to you guys. So now I like to use this round carpet, as I was saying. Let me just delete that. The thing is, you can use a smaller mat and then use the tiny brown mat and sort of put it around the edges to sort of create like a square, like a square sort of structure. So you could use this little small one, and then you can go up to this, the other mat, which pretty much, see this thing, it looks just like plywood, and then they merge really nicely, and you can like build a square around that smaller mat, and that'll give you the same effect. It could even be better if you want it to be square and not round. It might actually look better. I might try another one like that. But if you do that, that would work without using this mat that I'm going to use. This is the mat I used when I built it at the Blood Eagle prison, so I'm just going to use this for now. So we're going to go over to the chain link fences. We're going to go down to the door that we get with them, and now you want to get this door right at the edge. So you got to mess around with the angle here. You know, it will show that it's going to snap. So just play around with it. You know, get a bit of an angle going. That's still too far in, so you want to get it. Yeah, there we go. Like that's better. You know, as close to the edge as possible. Make sure it's kind of squared off, that your cage is going to work nicely. Get it as far as possible and snap that in. Now, what's really nice about these chain link fences, I absolutely love them. They're one of my favorite items in the game. They're just going to snap on you, so you don't even have to line stuff up. You don't have to flamethrow anything. You're just going to snap them straight in, and there we go. You've got the whole base of your cage already looking good like that, and that part's pretty easy as long as you get the lineup right. Okay, so once we've got this right, we now need to build the hanging bone charms that hang down to support the cage itself, and this is probably the most difficult part. So we already know that our distance is correct because we measured it when we were lowering the cage. So I'm just going to take a spike trap here and just put it here just so that it looks a bit better. This one's purely for aesthetics. It just makes it look like this thing's really bolted onto the roof, you know. I like how that looks as opposed to just this spiked arm coming off there. Then we're going to take another spike trap. We're just going to put it down here, and we're just going to go back to that same little lovely little piece of plywood mat we got there, and we're just going to drag it on up there, get it quite close to the edge if you can. And now you're going to take another plywood mat, and this is where the magic really happens, because this thing will not place on the spike board, but because you have that conduit there, it kind of snaps on the conduit. I don't know if it's between the conduit and the spike board. It's amazing, and it was one of the things that allowed me to do this when I originally figured this out. And we just want to get this going nice and sideways like this. It just makes it look like you've snapped some random like pieces of plywood board onto the edge there, rather than having it all straight. And get it as close to the edge as you can. And same thing with this, because then we're going to put this over here, and we want to get it as close to the edge as possible. So now it's red, so that's not ideal. Like, you want the spike board that's on top of that mat to be as close to the edge as you can, so it's in the middle. So we're just going to take this off, and we're just going to try to get it a little bit closer. So there we go. Just try to get that thing as close as you can. That is quite important if you want the bone charms to be in the middle. We're then going to go back to the edge. I'm going to get this lined up nicely over there and as close as it can get, and then we're just going to snap this down over there. Now we're going to go back to the mats, and this is going to be the final piece of plywood in inverted commas that you're going to place, and this is going to hold up the bones itself. So just try to line it up a bit so it's in the middle. You're just going to get it as close on the edge of that spike board as you can, and that's going to be the base that holds up your bone charms. Now we've already measured which bone charms to use, so we can go over to those bad boys. Just take it to the edge here, try, like, you know, rotate it so it's like facing inwards and looks good. I like to put two, just looks a bit better than the whole cage hanging from one. So the second one doesn't have to be exactly centered, something like that's fine. And now you've got the bone charms nicely lined up, and this is what's going to hold the roof in. So now once that's done, it's not going to let you place anything while those charms are there. Luckily, we've placed this then on a spike trap, so we can go back up, trigger this thing, which is then going to destroy the mat and in turn destroy the bone charms. Now once you're done with that, you're now ready to build the roof. So as you can see here, we just want to build a nice little roof for this cage, and look, you guys might come up with something else. Maybe I've thought of a metal table, something. If you have a better idea for a roof, tell me. You could use that mats at the bottom, anything, you know. But I use these plywood planks to make the roof. So they're not going to go too low. They're going to place sort of on the top of those little like things on top of the pole there. But if you place one like that, and then you go to and then you take another one, you'll see now you can place it on the actual metal itself, which is a little bit lower, and that's what you want. Then you can go back to this one, and then this one's going to snap lower, which is really nice. So usually I really take my time with this. I did with the other ones I built. You can line them up perfectly, but I'm just going to speed this up because I'll just kind of put them down as quick as I could to make this roof. As you can see there, guys, they sort of merge into each other, so they don't stack up much. You see there, like, you see how it like merges in like that? That's what you want. You want the textures to merge, and then you know it's going to be nice and flat. Even if you do get a little layer that's slightly higher, like you can see there, my one layer of wood is a bit higher. It's no problem. We just take it at the end, and then we just merge it in where it's supposed to be. And then once that's done, look, you're left with a perfect roof. It's really not bad. In all honesty, it looks like wood. We've used it in a lot of builds for walkways, little scrappy wooden pieces, and it looks good. Then you're going to come back up, you're going to repair the spike trap, which is going to repair the bone charms, and there we go. That's the whole support done. You've got the cage hanging perfectly. Looks really cool. It's pretty much in the middle. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like I say, if you guys are you know, if you want to be like a control freak about it, which I usually am, you can take some more time and really get it perfectly in the middle. But that looks fine for just a quick build like that. Now, if you want to light this thing, I was just thinking now these things would look pretty cool, you know, if you want to go with like a nice candle lit style. But to really light these cages up and have them glowing nicely from a distance, the cage bulb lights really work best. I just take the smaller one, go into the cage itself, and then have it running nice and diagonally across the cage like this, and that's going to snap without a problem. And then it's going to light this cage up nicely, and it's going to glow and look really good from a distance like that. Now, last thing we want to do is that arm, you know, just doesn't look as good coming off the roof. So what I like to do is build on a flat roof, then come at the end, replace it like this. Now you've got this new spiky roof that's from the pit building set that just released, and now it really looks nice and immersive, like it's completely meant to be there. And there we go. At the end of the day, this is what your cage looks like. That's all for today, guys. If you did enjoy the video and or found it helpful, please consider subscribing. The channel is already doing a lot better than I ever thought it would do. I'm pretty stoked about it. So thanks to each and every one of you that have subscribed already. All the support you guys are giving me, it's really been awesome. We're going to keep it going. A lot more camp videos. I've got a lot of builds planned, a lot of shelters, a couple more tutorials, and yeah, I'm going to keep it going. So please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, guys, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers.